Welcome back. In this lesson, which is part 3 of adding authentication to YelpCamp, we're going to focus on login. We'll be writing the 2 login routes and then also the login template with the form. Let's get started here. So just like register, login needs to have 2 routes. This should be a bit of a review from the last unit where we covered auth in more detail, but we need a get request to show the form and then a post to actually do the logging in. So let's start with the form, and I'll add a comment here, show login form, just like that. And then we'll do an app.get/login, our request response and the callback. There we go. And then we'll render the login template that doesn't exist yet. Now let's create that, touch views/login.ejs. And now let's open that. And let's start with an H1 that just says login and save. Let's start the server. Let's go to our app and try and visit /login. There we go. Looks good. Now let's add the form. So we need to have a form tag, and let's start with our inputs. Input type equals text, and we could just steal this from the register form, but it's good practice to type it again from scratch. So input type equals text, name equals username, placeholder equals username as well. And then another one, input type equals password, name equals password, placeholder equals password. And then rather than doing a button, which I've been doing, I'm just going to use an input type equals submit just to demonstrate that you can use either one. So input type equals submit, and then we need to give it a value, and that's what will actually show up. So value will just say login. Let's save, take a look at our form. Okay, we have the form. It doesn't do anything right now because we need to give it an action and a method. And just like register, on register we have a post request that we're making to /register. On the login form, we're going to make a post request to /login. So action should be /login and method should be post. And we'll save. Let's make sure that works. Then if I hit login right now, we'll get a little message that says cannot post /login because we don't have a route for that. So we'll go back to app.js and add in our login route. And this route will be responsible for handling login logic. So app.post /login, add our callback. And then what we'll do is just do a simple res.send, login logic happens here. And we just want to make sure we see that. And we do have to restart the server whenever we change or add a new route. Now let's refresh, type anything. We actually don't even have to fill those out. Login, and we get login logic happens here. All right, great. So we have the route set up correctly, but I'm actually going to get rid of all of this because if you remember back from the last unit, the way that we can do login is by using a middleware, and that's the passport.authenticate middleware. So I'll add that in here, comma, passport.authenticate, and then inside we need to provide local, and then after local as a second argument, we provide an object, and that object will take 2 things, success, redirect, and if a user successfully logs in, let's redirect to /campgrounds, and a failure redirect, and let's indent this now that we have enough text here. Okay, so success redirect and a failure redirect, and we'll redirect just back to /login if it fails. Just like this. There's a lot to take in here, and we still need a comma, and then we should be good to go. So let's walk through this again. It's a bit of review from before. We have an app.post route to /login. When a request comes in to /login, this is going to run first, all of this. And this is all just the second argument, so it really looks like this, app.post. We have /login, then we have the middleware, and then we have our callback. So the middleware goes from here down to there, which is always a little confusing when you put things on new lines, but it's much better than just having one gigantic line. And that middleware will call the authenticate method, which we set up here. So much code to go through. Towards the top, here we are. Passport.use local strategy user.authenticate. So when we call user.authenticate or passport.authenticate on the local strategy, it will use a method that we didn't have to write. It was given to us for free by using the passport local mongoose package. But it's going to call that authenticate, which will then take request.body.password, request.body.username, and then it will authenticate that password with what we have stored in the database for that user. And it takes care of all of the complex logic that we don't have to worry about. And then if it works, redirect to /campgrounds. If it doesn't work, redirect to /login. And then we have this callback here that really doesn't do anything, and we can get rid of that if we wanted to. But I just want to leave it there so that you are aware that this is a middleware. Okay, so restart the server. Let's see what happens. I'll get rid of this line. It's complaining about that. There we go. Let's refresh. And let's log in with that same account that I created last time, Severus, and password is password. And I hit login and I go to /campgrounds. Great. Now let's go back. I'll restart the server again. And let me try logging in with something that I know doesn't work. Hopefully we don't have an account with that password. And I get back to the login form because that's what I set as the failure redirect. Okay, so let me just reiterate this because it is an important concept. This is the same passport.authenticate that we're using instead of register as we're using inside of login. The difference is that inside of register, we're doing other things before we run passport.authenticate. We're actually registering the user, making a new user, and then if that works, then we're logging the user in. Versus here on /login, the user is presumed to exist already, so all we do is passport.authenticate, which will log them in. Okay, so that's everything I wanted to get done. The login logic with those two routes, app.getLogin, app.postLogin, and then we also have the form here, just a simple form, just like register. The only difference is this right here, where we're submitting the form to. Awesome. In the next video, we'll be working on logging out and also making our nav bar a little bit better.